Have you ever stopped to think that some of the most dangerous vulnerabilities in modern systems don't actually come from broken code, but from assumptions that nobody questioned? Because today, we're not talking about basic hacking concepts. We're going deeper into the edge cases, the overlooked mechanics, and the hidden failure points of advanced systems. So before we begin, imagine this. What if everything you trust in a digital system identity, randomness, memory, even physics-level CPU behavior was just slightly wrong in the right conditions? That's where today's topic begins. Welcome to BlueHat Cybersec Academy, and let's break it down. We'll start with something that sounds secure on paper, but becomes fragile in the real world: X.509 certificate abuse, or in simpler terms, misusing digital trust. X.509 certificates are the backbone of TLS and HTTPS security. They bind a public key to an identity, like a website allowing browsers and systems to trust encrypted communication. But here's the key point. This trust model is only as strong as the certificate issuance and validation ecosystem. Now, conceptually speaking, certificate abuse does not usually mean breaking encryption. Instead, attackers exploit weaknesses in the trust chain in several ways, such as misissued certificates, where a certificate authority incorrectly signs a certificate, rogue or compromised certificate authorities, improper validation on client systems that end up accepting invalid chains, over-trusting root certificates installed on devices, or even weak revocation handling where revoked certificates still continue to be accepted in practice. And why does this matter? Because if an attacker can obtain or abuse a valid certificate, encrypted traffic can be impersonated without triggering obvious browser warnings. That enables man-in-the-middle scenarios that appear completely legitimate. So defensively, systems rely on mechanisms like certificate transparency logs to detect misissuance, strict certificate pinning in controlled environments, strong CA governance and auditing, OCSP stapling and improved revocation handling, and minimizing trusted root stores wherever possible. Now shifting gears, let's talk about something that feels harmless, but quietly breaks financial systems: floating point security risks, or precision as an attack surface. Floating point arithmetic, based on the IEEE 754 standard, is essential for scientific computing, graphics, and finance, but it introduces subtle precision errors because of how numbers are stored in binary. The core issue is simple but dangerous. Many decimal values cannot be represented exactly in binary floating point format. This leads to rounding errors, accumulated drift over repeated operations, and non-deterministic comparisons at scale. And here's where attackers care. In financial systems or distributed ledgers, even microscopic precision differences can trigger incorrect balance calculations, cause inconsistent transaction validation, or create edge cases in pricing and settlement logic. These issues are rarely exploits in the traditional sense. Instead, they are mathematical inconsistencies that can be manipulated under specific conditions. So defensive strategies focus on using fixed point or decimal arithmetic for financial calculations, avoiding direct equality comparisons on floating point values, implementing deterministic rounding rules, and auditing numerical pipelines to ensure reproducibility. Now let's move into something more system-level: binary planting, or hijacking execution flow via system binaries. Binary planting refers to scenarios where an operating system or application loads a malicious or unintended binary instead of the legitimate one. It is closely related to DLL hijacking and path manipulation issues. Conceptually, systems often search for executables in a predefined order, such as current directory, system paths, or environment variables. If that order is unsafe, a malicious binary placed in a higher priority location may be executed. Trusted applications may unknowingly load untrusted code, or update and installer processes may be silently redirected. And the important part here is this. This technique doesn't break security boundaries. It exploits assumptions about where trusted binaries come from. So defensive strategies include using absolute paths for system-critical binaries, enforcing code signing verification, hardening path environment variables, restricting write permissions in execution directories, and enabling OS-level binary integrity protection. Now we step into a much deeper layer, where software meets hardware ghost race vulnerability, or speculative execution combined with concurrency issues. Ghost race-style vulnerabilities arise from complex interactions between CPU, speculative execution, and race conditions in concurrent code execution. Modern CPUs execute instructions out of order to improve performance. However, speculative execution may access data that should not be reachable yet, or interact with shared memory in unexpected timing windows. When combined with race conditions in software, this creates subtle inconsistencies where security checks are bypassed transiently, unauthorized memory access occurs briefly in speculative paths, and side effects can leak sensitive data indirectly. And this is critical. These are not traditional software bugs. They exist at the boundary between hardware optimization and software correctness. So defensive strategies include CPU microcode updates and hardware mitigations, compiler-level speculation barriers, memory isolation techniques, strict synchronization in concurrent code, and side-channel resistant programming patterns. Finally, let's talk about something that underpins almost all cryptography-weak random number generators, or predictable randomness. Cryptographic systems depend heavily on randomness. If randomness is predictable, security collapses. So what goes wrong? Weak or improperly seeded random number generators can produce predictable encryption keys, reused nonces in cryptographic protocols, reproducible session tokens, and even low-entropy password reset tokens. Common causes include relying on standard pseudo-random functions instead of cryptographically secure RNGs, insufficient entropy during system startup, and poor seeding strategies in virtualized environments. And here's why it is critical. If an attacker can guess or reconstruct randomness, they can effectively reverse cryptographic protections without breaking the underlying algorithms. So defensive strategies rely on using cryptographically secure RNGs, ensuring sufficient entropy sources like hardware noise and OS entropy pools, avoiding custom randomness implementations, regularly auditing token generation systems, and rotating keys and nonces appropriately. Now, let's zoom out for a moment. These 5 topics highlight a central truth in advanced security. Vulnerabilities rarely come from broken encryption or bad algorithms alone. Instead, they emerge from the gaps between systems, between hardware and software, math and implementation, or trust and verification. PKI assumes certificates are correctly issued. Floating point assumes precision is good enough. Operating systems assume binaries are where they should be. CPUs assume speculative execution won't leak state. Developers assume randomness is truly random. Security failures occur when any of those assumptions stop holding. And understanding these mechanisms is less about learning how to break things, and more about recognizing where modern systems quietly depend on fragile trust layers and how to design around them so they don't break in the real world. Now, before we wrap up, here's a quick challenge for you. Think through these questions. Why is a valid X.509 certificate still dangerous if misissued? How can floating point precision errors impact financial systems in real scenarios? What makes binary planting different from traditional malware injection? Why are CPU speculative execution bugs considered hardware-level security risks? And what happens cryptographically if an RNG becomes predictable? Take a moment and really think through each one. And if this breakdown helped you understand advanced exploitation techniques more clearly, then you're already building the mindset of a security researcher. This is part of the playlist Advanced Hacking, Attacks, and Exploitation. So if you want more deep technical breakdowns like this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next module in the series. Because in cybersecurity, understanding the weakness is what makes you strong.